Okay,
All right, let's do a little jingle.
all right.
Sideways up.
This is
Word.
it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sideways Upward. This is a podcast for unusual ideas and strategies to help you in your life and in your business. We've all heard of the typical strategies: buy low, sell high, things of that nature. But our objective here is to help you all with finding ways to break out of the box, think outside the box, and we'll be doing that by talking about some historical examples today. My name is Erim Goxie, and this podcast is sponsored by Parker Davis, owner of Pioneer Air Conditioners. We're in the meeting room right now, the building. I'm working at this company right now, and I'm here with Brian. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Brian Castillo. I'm an engineer as well. I have a background in medical device design. I also have a passion for finance, business, marketing, you name it. And I think the focus of this podcast is mainly going to be discussing business opportunities and how to approach certain situations that might require thinking outside the box and oblique strategies to be able to tackle them and come up with creative solutions. Um, so, in this podcast, we're going to be discussing a couple companies that have done so and seeing how you, the viewer, can come up with maybe your own strategies moving forward. So, I'll pass it back to Aaron to kick it off with the first company.
All right, Brian. Let me set the scene for you right now.
Okay, I'm
It's
listening.
it's the 1980s.
So, long time ago.
A long time ago. You and I aren't even born yet.
Yeah.
And what's the problem of the day that they're dealing with there is vacuums.
Uh-huh.
Specifically bagged vacuums.
Okay, okay.
Do you know what a bagged vacuum is?
Yeah, I was in a bagged vacuum in that time.
You were in your own vacuum before you got
Yeah,
lovingly ejected out.
yeah.
I've always wondered, like, if people met the doctor that pulled them out of the womb.
Dude, I feel like I saw a story recently about that. Like a guy who like met the doctor.
Yeah.
There was like a weird relationship between how he eventually met the doctor that actually gave birth to him,
Uh
and I think they were somehow related. It was
huh.
weird.
They're related. I mean, okay, it's like his uncle or
Yeah.
something. That'd be weird.
If it was his father, that'd be even weirder.
Yeah.
And the mother didn't know.
That's how they did it back then in the 80s, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna set the scene for you. And back then, there was basically everyone was using bagged vacuums,
Okay.
and the problem with those, as our person found out, who's James Dyson, is that when you use it for too long, the way it works is that it's pulling air through the mesh of the bag, and it's like a mesh, and so it's trapping dust
Yeah.
inside the bag,
Yeah.
and the other air is being expelled out, the clean air. So what's happening with that is the dust is building up inside the bag, and then that's causing clogs.
So can I ask a question here?
Yep.
Nowadays, we know that whenever you're dealing with a central unit like a central air conditioner or any kind of air conditioner, they have filters.
Yeah.
And the filters are essentially trapping that dust.
Correct.
Back in the day, there weren't filters, so this wasn't something that Dyson knew ahead of time because the filters, we all know, trap dust whenever airflow is going in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
So was that something that didn't exist back then?
The filters for ACs.
The filters for ACs.
I'm sure it did exist back then, but
So it
those
was
require being changed frequently so that
right.
the buildup is not affecting the
Right.
performance of
But
the
the
unit.
same, so I guess Dyson realized that it was an issue with the bags,
Yeah.
similar to how filters trap dust. It just
Yeah.
wasn't caught in like initially.
Yeah.
This was the case.
Kind of. How he came upon it was that he was using a Hoover vacuum, which was a bagged vacuum,
Yeah.
and then he was noticing that it lost a lot of suction power over time. Is like even after doing one room,
Right.
and he was getting frustrated with it. So he was working at a kind of a he was an inventor already actually, and he invented what's called a roller barrel. So it's like a wheelbarrow, but with a spherical wheel basically in the front.
Okay.
So he was working at this company already, and then so he was basically already in that invention mindset.
kind of like this globe here, just like a
Yeah, like
rotating in all
imagine this is
directions.
on a wheelbarrow,
Okay, gotcha.
and so
Okay,
it's very maneuverable,
right, right, makes sense.
Yeah, but that's not a very lucrative company probably.
Hmm.
So he was using this vacuum. He noticed it was losing suction really quick. So he was also had some experience at a sawmill, and at a sawmill, there's a lot of sawdust flying around, stuff. So they have to capture that and not let people go into people's lungs, basically. So how they do that is this thing called cyclonic separator. Basically, it's pulling that sawdust flying around into like a vortex,
Hmm.
and then that vortex, the clean air pops out upward, and the dust just by gravity falls down. So it was a very efficient way to separate the sawdust from the air. So he saw that and he's like, "What if you applied this to a home vacuum cleaner?" And so he made a prototype out of cardboard and tape, and then he taped that onto his Hoover hose and everything, and he found that it worked way better. That way, you had like all your suction remain. There was no bag to get clogged up over time
Hmm.
with the dust and all that.
Okay.
So he took this idea and he brought it to various companies, and they all said, "This is stupid. You're gonna the vacuum bag replacement industry is like a $500 million industry." He's like, "You want to just get rid of that? That's completely nonsense." So they just kind of told him to, get lost.
Listen, in business, when there's always going to be the people who go against losing money
Mm-hmm.
initially,
Mm.
but when people have a vision long term and they see the value that something's adding,
Yeah.
that's when they realize that it's a real groundbreaking technology.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, obviously the short term investors were saying this is not a good idea because they were thinking they were going to lose money by his product
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize that long term that would have been a successful business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy and the way he was thinking and the way he was revolutionizing this industry was actually going to be better long term for the entire
Yeah.
industry of vacuums.
Yeah,
So
he literally apparently he brought it straight to Hoover, and they're just like, no, this makes no sense. You just want to get rid of this lucrative recurring revenue stream.
yeah,
So they lost a really good opportunity there.
of course.
And then so he apparently took 5 years to make prototype after prototype, and he had like 5,000 failed designs until he eventually landed on this vacuum with a cyclone in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what happens next is that he took this design that he came up with and he licensed it out to a company that he worked at before. They had a limited run, they sold a couple hundred sets, and then that was it. Then he found a Japanese company over time that would sell it only in Japan. He couldn't get it sold in the UK or the US. And also at that time, a lot of people were telling him that because nowadays we know what Dyson vacuum looks like. It has a clear uh, container basically,
Mm-hmm.
and people were like, "Why would you have a clear container? You're gonna see all the ugliness of all this dust and all this thing. Like nobody wants to see that."
Yeah,
But what they found out later on was that that was actually a selling point for it
of
because you
course. You
you
get to
can
know when it's full.
you know when it's full and you feel like a sense of pride of all this dust and stuff, this
Such.
cat hair that you captured.
Yeah.
When it's just going in a bag, you don't know when it's full. You don't get that sense that like you actually accomplished vacuuming your carpet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, a lot of times, some of the designs that seem a little bit out there, when you do user testing, when you actually put it in front of the market and you gather feedback back from them, you notice that it's actually better to go that route because it
mm,
actually accomplishes something else that the people who were designing it in the first place didn't think about.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, in this case, it turned out that people who were using this found a lot of value in having the clear plastic versus one that's not translucent. And so, yeah, that makes
Exactly.
sense.
So imagine if we just kept going the way things were in the 80s, we we would just keep having these vacuums losing suction over time, and I have this brilliant idea, which I think honestly it's amazing, and he patented it. A lot of people tried to copy him. He's always sending cease and desist letters to this day. And now this cyclonic separation is using it in his different designs like the bladeless fan, the blade air blade dryer. All these are it's basically a motor company. Dyson today. They're
Interesting.
yeah
I wonder if Dyson ever tried to also sell back to the company he originally got inspiration from.
like
Like that you said it was a milling company or
yeah, it was a sawmill.
sawmill. So I wonder if he ever tried to sell bigger cyclone separators to those type of companies. Probably not, but he has a patent for it at the end of the day. So
I think he patented it for the use in a vacuum,
mhm.
like a
Okay, so
home vacuum.
specifically for
Yeah, and the sawmill was already working great. Like it
yeah,
was separating the dust from the air super good, but no one thought to apply that to a
yeah, so a
home
home appliance,
device like
yeah,
that.
hmm
So that I think that's the brilliance of, and that was kind of a sideways thinking there. So my idea was that he brought something from another industry into this industry,
of course,
and
yeah.
so my suggestion for the viewers is that if you're dealing with a problem and you need a creative solution, look at other industries. Look at something completely unrelated, because you could find inspiration there, like Mr. James Dyson.
It doesn't even need to be other industries. Look at other devices you have around your, laying around, other things you use. Sometimes you find inspiration in nature.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times the designs come from actual the way that nature handles things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can find inspiration in anything, and a lot of times we can leverage a lot of the stuff that have already been solved in other and use it in other applications.
Yeah.
Um, and transitioning a segue into applications, I do want to talk about another company that did something similar.
Okay.
In this case, I'm referring to Robinhood. If you guys haven't
Big fan
heard,
of Robinhood.
yeah, if you guys haven't heard about Robinhood, it is basically a financial tech company. They focus on investing. So it's basically a trading platform, but it makes it such that it's very accessible to all kind of users. So in the past, we've had companies like Fidelity and E Trade and
Mm-hmm.
Charles Schwab, you name it, that have had their own platforms for trading.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times their user interface and the user experience was more focused on having institutional investors and people who really understood finance and trading be the ones who actually use it. There was a lot of there, and to this day, there's a lot of numbers, a lot of buttons, a lot of options to click, a lot of
Yeah.
things. It does not streamline the process for your average user, which tends to be the retail investor, the retail trader,
Mm-hmm.
which can be any age. There is no age limit to when you can start trading. You can start trading from the moment you get a cell phone all the way to the moment you decide to retire
Yeah.
and move on. So at the end of the day, it's important to make trading and the financial industry accessible to everyone. And that's something that the CEO of Robinhood, Vlad Tenev, was able to do and discover. He said that the way that these traditional industries, which similar to Dyson, he got a lot of pushback because these traditional financial tech industries, they were raking in millions and millions and millions of dollars. We're
Sure.
talking ridiculous amounts of money. So obviously, all of them didn't want something like this to be coming out, and a lot of their big investors were pushing back on it
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't see value in it. They didn't see the value in your average investor, your retail investor getting in and really contributing and figuring this out and doing all this. They felt like the average user was someone who really understood the financial industry and who really like had a background in economics and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Turns out, fast forward from the early 2010s when Robinhood came out to now, one of the biggest demographics that trade are actually the retail investors, not the institutional investors.
And
It's
young
now,
people.
yeah, younger people. You have people now, in high school and all of this that are really putting all their life savings into
Mm-hmm.
this platform, Robinhood, and trading and investing in smaller companies and bigger companies in cryptocurrencies, you name it. Robinhood is making it very simple for your average person to get in there and to invest. Now, that doesn't come without some controversy. There was a time where because Vlad and his team have the ability to kind of control their user interface and their platform, there was a time when GameStop in the early 2020s,
Mm-hmm.
GameStop was becoming one of those stocks that a lot of people started putting a lot of money into, so it started running up very fast in price.
Mm-hmm.
The solution that Robinhood had here was to basically disable the option to purchase shares of GameStop at a
Right.
certain point. this generated a ton of backlash because essentially manipulated the stock price and the stock from moving higher up. And a lot of
Because it
people,
was short squeezing.
it was short squeezing. So a lot of people ended up getting burned because shortly
Mm-hmm.
after that, the stock started to really come down very fast. So a lot
Right.
of people lost a lot of money at that time, and Robinhood got a lot of backlash, a lot of criticism. Vlad to this day says it was a mistake that his company made, that they shouldn't have taken that route, that there were
Mm.
other options.
Okay.
Um, but I think looking past that and getting, the certainty from this company that these type of situations won't happen again, looking past it and then really innovating because Robinhood since then has come out with so many new features,
Right.
so many new ways to use their application. Um, the fact that this CEO is really focused on making this the number one investing tool and family oriented all in one financial tech tool that you need to be able to
Mm-hmm.
plan your financial future, I think is huge. Because if you think about it, there's parts of the financial industry like creating a trust, having a family account when it comes to investing, all of this stuff, wealth management, all of these things that traditionally only were accessible to high net worth individuals. The goal is to bring them to your everyday average user, like
Yeah.
anyone can use this.
Democratize the whole
Exactly,
financial space.
exactly, and that is the goal that Vlad has in mind.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that sets Robinhood apart is that they have basically limitless expansion. They can really expand out as far as they want. They are working at right now. They're in the U.S., UK. They're looking to expand out into the Trans-Asian market, the transatlantic market, the TAM.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're really trying to get international and global, and when that happens, when you have this one application that essentially anyone around the globe is using to
Mm-hmm.
invest, this company is just going to be bringing in so much money, it's going to be unfathomable, right?
Yeah.
So I think something like that company, I think the way that Vlad thought about it, thinking of this industry that's so antiquated that people haven't really touched because there's been so much of a stigma around it, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people with a lot of money that don't want it to be altered or touched. And the fact that he took it, he gamified it in a sense because he took this app and he made it very much like almost like an addicting app to use. You
Mm-hmm.
want to trade, you like using it. It's very intuitive.
I made it fun.
He made it fun. He made it fun to invest. He made the industry something fun. Traditionally, you ask someone 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
is investing fun? They would say nobody would say yes.
Yeah. It's just graphs and
It's
charts
yeah,
and.
nobody would say yes. Now you ask, do you like to invest? And you're gonna get a lot of retail investors saying yes. I
Mm-hmm.
like investing.
Yeah.
Investing is fun.
Yeah. That's a
You
good
know?
point. Like he made it like gamified, and also help like open the door for younger people to also invest their allowance,
Yeah.
or they're making money. What do kids do nowadays? Sell lemonade or whatever.
Yeah.
They could invest that and grow it starting at any age. So.
And we're seeing that. We're seeing the newer generations really adopting this app, which, here's the way I view it is these newer generations, um, they're gonna go with this app. You're not gonna see like
Mm-hmm.
future generations picking up and starting a new Charles Schwab account or Fidelity account or this. They're going to go to Robinhood. Robinhood is becoming so ubiquitous across Gen Z and all these newer generations. They're all investing in this platform, and it's only going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And right now, their competition, they don't have much competition. Yes, there's other apps. There's Webull, there's SoFi, there's all these other apps. But the thing that sets Robinhood apart is their user interface and the user experience. It's a
Mm-hmm.
similar thing that Apple does, right? They hyper focused, they were hyper fixated on making their products and their devices as user friendly
Yeah.
and as possible,
Just
right?
nice to use.
Making it so easy, making it so simple to use, and look where they're
Mm-hmm.
at now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I view Robinhood.
Yeah.
You know,
What strikes me about Robinhood is I was complaining to you this the other day is that there's no web app to, because I have the gold card, the credit card, and there's no desktop way to go on a desktop and just access my credit card transactions, my statement, and everything. It's only in the app. And then I was frustrated at first, but then I thought about it and I was like, you don't really need to access it on the computer when it's very simple. You just see your transactions and then you pay your bill at the end of the month. There's really not much more you need to do. If you need to download a statement, you can get that from the app. So I guess before people would say you need to have the app and also a
Yeah.
desktop interface, but really it seems like you don't.
And you know, it's not out of the picture. Like it could be something that's an enhancement in the future. I know that Robinhood this fall is coming out with their banking system. So basically, you can have like a checking, a saving account, and all of that.
Mm.
I assume that they will also have a desktop application for it where you can access this on the web, similar to the way you access it from Chase, Wells Fargo, all these companies, right? They're probably going to have something similar on the web, in which case they'll probably incorporate your credit card within that desktop application, would be my
Mm.
assumption. Now, you know, like you said, it's a nice to have. It's not necessarily a must have, right? Robinhood does have a desktop application for their trading platform, which is their main product,
Right.
obviously. So
But it
they
all
do.
started in the app.
It all started in the app, right?
Yeah.
So you know, these are like little spin-off projects, and really, at the end of the day, the vision that Vlad has is to incorporate all of this into one tool,
Mm-hmm.
like everything that has to do with finances to be all in one, income all in one.
Yeah.
Which no other company is doing. If we're being quite frank, no other company is doing this.
Yeah. Well,
So
think of another company that has a credit card, has banking, and it has stocks, and it has IRAs. It has.
it's yeah, and they
You
just
can
keep
bet on football games
right.
now.
Yeah, that's another thing. Right. Yeah, you can you know buy contracts and essentially bet on games, sports betting. But yeah, I mean they're really trying to tap into all these markets that have to do with the financial industry and make it accessible to your everyday investor. And I think that is brilliant because you know if you would have asked me 10 years ago what an option was when it comes to trading, I wouldn't have known.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have known what an option is. And within the last 10 years, I've learned so much when it comes to financial models and investing that it's made me grow a lot. And I can thank Robinhood for that, for making it simple.
Let me ask you, and I have my answer, but I want to ask you, what do you think was the core sideways up philosophy that made Robinhood succeed? What was the main oblique strategy that got them off the ground, got them so popular?
Their user interface, and their user experience was 100% it, because you know if you don't simplify something like option, for example, like doing an options contract, selling it or buying it or whatever it is, if you don't simplify that, I can guarantee you your average investor is not going to go out of their way to learn all of those tools to then apply it to another platform that's kind of confuses you with all these numbers and options. Like they're not going to do that. So the fact that they simplified pretty much every aspect of investing, they made it as simple as possible, and they continue to simplify it. I think that's what set them apart and what basically made them go sideways and upwards in terms of their product and their design.
Yeah, because it all started with only the app. They didn't have the desktop, even the platform
It was
before.
Everything was in the app.
Who would think, my finances are so serious, I need to do this on a serious computer.
Right.
I don't want to do this on my phone. But they said, screw it.
Yeah.
So.
And now you have all these other big guys, like I said, these other institutions, these traditional institutions that had these trading platforms. Now they're trying to copy, almost like
They're trying to play catch up.
They're trying to play catch up. They're playing catch up with Robinhood, and at the end of the day, this is a first mover's advantage, and a lot of people keep funneling into Robinhood because they have the best experience out there today.
I was gonna say the fact that, because I don't know if they did this first, but I know them for this, is not having fees for buying and selling stocks.
This is also the case.
I remember being young in my teens, and I was using TD Ameritrade or something else, and you would have to pay a couple bucks or $5 just to do a buy or sell order. Robinhood comes in and does $0.
Now, I do want to kind of throw a little wrench into this. It's they claim it's 0% fees, but when you actually look at it on the back end, there is a small percentage of every transaction. Now
they're skimming off the top.
They're kind of skimming off the top to kind of collect, and to be able to provide this to everyone. Obviously, they're not going to have to charge $50, $20, whatever it is, the way the traditional institutions did. They can charge way lower of a fee, but they're still raking in a lot of profits and money off of that alone.
Yeah. But even then, it's probably a couple cents off of
Yeah, yeah, it's not much,
every stock that you
right?
buy. Like, I remember using Vanguard, and I think it was $20 one time that I had just to buy one stock.
And the way I viewed that is that was almost like intentional by these brokerages to make it more like to not incentivize you to constantly be trading.
Yeah,
Like
shut out day
to
traders maybe,
basically
or
to shut out day traders, to shut out your average investor, because
mm,
they all knew that the institutional investors, they have a lot of money. To
mm,
them, $50 a trade is nothing because they're trading
yeah,
millions. Whereas your average investor who maybe is trading $50, they're not going to pay $50 or $20 for a trade.
yeah,
So it was really limiting their demographic of users. Whereas Robinhood says, no, we don't want to limit the demographic of users. Let's make this as simple as possible. Let's make this commission free, and let's let users get in there and trade whatever amount of money they want to put into it. Whether it's five
hmm,
bucks, $20, $100, $1,000, whatever it is, let
yeah,
them go in there and make their trades.
yeah.
Not for
Everybody
basic.
starts small. You could
Yeah,
start with $5, $10. Who
yeah,
knows where you could grow that to?
yeah.
I remember when I was first using TD and trading stocks, my dad was helping me. He gave me like $1,000 to play with, and I was so terrified to do any moves because of that fee, $5 $10 each move you make.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm losing all my profits. It was very upsetting. So I just like bought some Google, which I'm glad I still hold that, and just don't even look at the account for years and years. But if I was using an app like Robinhood, I'd be buying and trading all day probably.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're
Hmm.
trading more often. They're buying a lot of stock, and it's great. It's great for the entire economy. It's great for the entire industry.
Hmm.
And now it's a matter of who's able to move markets more. Is it the institutional investors or is it your average retail investors? Because now both of them are pretty much almost
They're
on
on the
par.
same playing field now.
Yeah, now the playing field is the same, and
Yeah.
I think that's what scared the institutional investors back in the day, and why Robinhood got a lot of pushback because
Hmm.
they didn't want the playing field to be even,
Hmm.
right? And now that it is, now we're noticing a lot of trends in like retail investors really pushing certain stocks to move higher, or really pushing for certain companies to grow, and whereas the institutions are kind of almost like taking a different approach. A good example is recently, with the tariffs that got implemented. A lot of the institutions, they actually pulled all of their money out. They were scared. They wanted to hold cash.
Hmm.
And guess what the retail investors did? They did the opposite. They looked at it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
They looked at it as an opportunity. When the stocks, everything went down, they put their money in. And guess who came out on top? It wasn't the institutions, it was the retail investors.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a healthy market right now because now we have these two groups, these two classes, and sometimes they're gonna go in the same direction, sometimes they're gonna go in opposing directions. But it's very healthy for our markets long term to have all of these people be part of this open market. Uh,
That goes to show, I think, an important theme also for success, in my opinion, is to not freak out when there's a bad situation and maybe look at it as an opportunity.
yeah,
You see these tariffs, it gave the market a dip and it gave some ideas to some investors to go all in, even because they know it probably will bounce back. So there's a quote by Winston Churchill, I think, and he says, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." So I think using that as an opportunity, trying to find opportunity in the chaos, is gonna help
Uh,
a lot of you guys with
and his
success.
and historically, if you look at it, some of the best companies and ideas have come out of the hardest times.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes like these type of events, these type of hard times, to spark innovation and to really
Mm-hmm.
get people to think outside of the box and
Mm-hmm.
to think sideways upward.
Yeah. Yeah. I
you know
mean, a lot of these stories are gonna be disruptive innovators. Like
hmm
Dyson, he went through 5,000 plus iterations. He was just like, let me speed run failure so I move forward to the next one.
yeah,
And so I think not looking like something that a prototype and it went wrong as a failure, look at it as closer to the finalized product. It will get you a lot more success.
exactly. Another quote that always sticks with me is Warren Buffett saying, be greedy when others are fearful. Right?
Mm,
It's
so
when
true.
you are investing, you have to have a certain level of emotional intelligence where you don't let your emotions get the best of you.
Yeah.
Whenever things are going down, have a steady mind and see it as an opportunity to get in.
Yeah.
Because, do you panic when you go to the store and you see a product is on sale? No, you buy the product because you want the product and it's on sale. That's the way that you should view investing, is if something is low and it's on sale, quote unquote, then you should be able to go in, scoop it up. And, eventually it's going to go back to its price or higher because, just like a product, eventually it's going to go up because of inflation. So is the, whatever you invest in. So
yeah, I'm still waiting for all that toilet paper I hogged during COVID to appreciate in value.
Why, so you can resell it?
Yeah. I'm waiting for the next pandemic to sell off all my hog toilet paper.
You haven't used it by now?
No, that's those Costco rules, man.
No, you have to be eating a little bit more so you can really run through them.
You gotta go to Chipotle real quick. We'll be right back after this commercial break. And we're back from Chipotle after eating 3 burritos each. So
declog the toilet.
Yeah, but I left the toilet paper at home, so
so you used your hand.
It's no use to me. Well, I can't do that on screen.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
You get that in the unrated episode of this podcast. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for joining us, and we're gonna leave you with a challenge. If you're dealing with a problem, either in your business or in your personal life, why don't you look outside to something that's completely unrelated, completely nothing to do with your industry or your field, and see if you can find inspiration from there. And we'll be waiting to hear back for any stories that you have for us. So, thanks for joining me, Brian.
Thank you.
We'll see you in the next one.